Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being a viewer. Thank you so much for being a subscriber. I want you to know that I sincerely appreciate you. This time the Ignition Time channel is about the country, it's about the economy, and it's about your money. Now, you've heard me talk about Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky, and Senator Rand Paul had an interview today on Fox and he said some extremely interesting things. He actually reacted to what President Trump said last night in his incredible video that was released on multiple social media outlets. Now, Senator Rand Paul said that he hopes President Trump vetoes the bill, and he talked extensively about restructuring the way we spend money as a country. And he released something called the Festivus Report. In fact, here's a report on your screen. It's called the Festivus Report, and I'll actually quickly walk you through the report later on in this video. It's quite incredible that Senator Rand Paul officially on his website put out this report, the Festivus Report, outlining the unbelievable ways in which our government spends money. Now, I actually went through this report, and I got to tell you, some of the work that Senator Rand Paul and his team have done to put together this report is quite incredible. So I definitely think this report is something that every single taxpayer should see. Now, regardless of whether you're in favor of large stimulus checks or not, the point is I want to make our viewers and subscribers aware of both sides of the story. For me personally, it's not about the red or the blue, it's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat, I'm not Republican, I'm American first. Let's take a look at this first segment with Senator Rand Paul, where he talks about the fact that Washington will not exchange wasteful spending for useful spending. He laments the fact that Republicans and Democrats, both parties, continue to spend more and more money. It's almost like they have an unlimited checking account, and they continue to drive us deeper and deeper into debt. And he said the only way for us to survive this and get through this is by opening up the economy. Incredible comments from Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky. Let's take a look.
A lot of people loved what you had to say on the Senate floor. React to the recent developments, because it's been exposed how much pork is in this. When you tie an omnibus to an emergency bill like COVID-19, everyone throws their prerogatives of Washington into the bill. Is there a way in which, if some of that was stripped out, you could support one-time additional payments to individuals beyond 600, or is it both that you object to, sir?
You know, it'd be great if there were actually that alternative. If they said, oh, we'll quit spending money on selfies to see if selfies make you happy, or we'll quit spending money on the mating call of Panamanian frogs. But guess what? They never do that. They always add it. No one ever takes away any spending. And that's my big gripe. It is, of course, Festivus, so I can tell you why I'm unhappy with all these jokers. The thing is they never take away wasteful spending. They only add more to it. And the bottom line is the only way we recover as economy is we've got to open the economy up. Unemployment is actually lower than it was during most of President Obama's term. So we really can recover, but we got to get these governors out of the way of our restaurants and our bars and our venues. We got to get the economy opened up. Is the only way we survive this.
You know, Senator, one of the most important things I think that you said in that floor speech is that Congress is enabling lockdown behavior from Democrats who have taken this way too far in terms of stifling their own economies. But in the meantime, President Trump last night said that he wants $2,000 checks going out. Is that something that the Senate and Congress can do before next week?
You know, I saw the president's speech, and we've actually included it this morning as part of our Festivus celebration because he was on a rant, and so am I. He was unhappy with all the spending to Pakistan and Sudan and all these far-flung places where we aren't taking care of our own. The problem is if we were to get more money to Americans, we would add it on top. If it were an either or, it'd be a little bit different situation. But I can tell you from experience in Washington, these jokers never replace spending. I've asked for it all along. Like I've asked them, look, if you want to build infrastructure in our country, quit spending $50 billion a year on infrastructure in Afghanistan. But I never get them to bite. They'll add it on, but they'll never do the responsible thing and exchange wasteful spending for useful spending.
Now, in the second segment, Senator Paul went into a lot more detail about why he feels both sides, not just the Democrats, but also the Republicans, both sides are bankrupting the country, his words. And he said this only ends when we get new people in Washington. Incredible. You have to see these comments. Let's roll the tape and hear what the senator had to say.
Senator, I've long said that fiscal conservatives is now an exhibit at the Smithsonian to go and see from the 90s, because both parties are spending like drunken sailors, it seems, in the last decade or more. But my question to you this morning is, so what do we do at this very moment? Pete talked about it a little bit earlier this morning about whether something could actually be done, or does what the president has done now put Mitch McConnell and Republicans in a very difficult spot here at the end of the year?
Yeah, the thing is you need better people. There was only 6 or 7 of us who, opposed this smorgasbord of debt. But if you ask the American people, should we spend money we don't have? Should we run a balanced budget? I'll bet you 75% of Republicans will tell you they'd rather have conservatives in Washington. The people in Washington run as conservatives. Like when President Obama was in power, they said it was terrible, the spending and the debt and all this, and now they're no better. I told people in my speech that it's not that the difference in parties is Adam Smith versus Marx. It's really Marx versus Engels. And I don't think they're happy to hear that, but they're always talking about socialism, and so am I. But that bill yesterday was a bunch of socialist spending. And if you voted for it, you're no better than the Democrats. And so that's the problem we have. People need to get involved in primaries and elect better people. But the people in Washington are bankrupting us, both parties.
It's hard to refute what you say there, Senator, when it's a 5,593-page bill that you have 6 hours to attempt to read, which means, of course, no one reads it, and leadership has all the prerogatives and their giveaways. You've been front and center in trying to expose this for years. You've got a Festivus Report, which we now can confirm is your favorite holiday. Here's a portion of some of the things in there. $10 billion on botched COVID-19 test tubes, lizards walking on. I mean, that seems like it has to be fake, but I don't think it is. Walking on treadmills, finance a taxiway for airplanes on Nantucket Island. It goes hot tubs, see if they reduce stress, which we all know, of course, is true, but I don't know why we need to study it. What shocks you the most when you go through our budget and realize how much money we're wasting?
Here's one of the worst. The National Science Foundation spends about $8 billion every year. William Proxmire started complaining about it in the early 1970s. One of their first projects was, back then, $50,000 to study what makes you happy. Well, last year they spent about $1 million, inflation, I guess, about $1 million. If you take a selfie of yourself while smiling and then you look at it later on, will that make you happy? That's the kind of stuff your government's doing. We got a bridge that's broken over the Ohio River. We've wanted a new bridge for 10 years, and we send money to Pakistan for gender studies. For my goodness sake, we can't build our own country because we're too busy rebuilding everybody else's country. It's what President Trump has always gotten right. It's why President Trump got all these new blue-collar workers into our party, because they're sick and tired of sending money, shoveling it overseas, and they want it here at home. But the thing is the establishment Republicans, I call them the big government Republicans, they never were on Trump's side, and you can tell, he butts heads with them. They like the spending. They've been doling it out ever since they've been up there, and I don't know how it ends until we get new people up there.
Now, I want our viewers and subscribers to let me know in the comment section below whether you agree or disagree. I'll also provide you with the link in the description section below to this entire interview on Fox, so you have to check it out. In the third segment, Senator Paul talks about the fact that he hopes the president vetoes the bill when he was asked to comment in detail on the president's announcement last night about his concerns with all the pork that's in this spending package. I've done other videos talking about the fact that there's always going to be pork, there's always going to be wastage, but I think that what Senator Paul is doing is trying to highlight the extent of the wasted spending that is out there. And I think that in the middle of the pandemic, this is an important thing for all of us to be aware about, whether you're in favor of more stimulus or less stimulus, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, whether you're a red, whether you're for the red or the blue. So Senator Paul said, I hope the president vetoes the bill. And he said it's a socialist idea to hand out free money to people. When does it stop? Where does it end? Do we just continue giving out free money to people? Because eventually that's going to come back to bite us, and that's going to destroy the value and the strength of the United States dollar. Let's roll the tape and hear what the senator had to say.
And Senator, I would finally just add that we need our members of Congress, senators and representatives vaccinated so they can be in Washington working here on important legislation. I want to just leave it by putting you on the spot here. If the president does veto this legislation, will you vote to override?
The thing is that I hope he vetoes it But the only way I would vote for any spending or any additional spending is if it came out of existing spending. So if they want to cut the $30 billion we shovel and send overseas, I'm happy to vote for that. And we can discuss where we can spend it here in our country. I think there are a lot of things. I think giving money, though, to people who are already working. Look, my kids are working and don't need a check. They're not rich, but they don't need a check. And most working Americans don't need a check right now. It's a really foolish, egg-headed, left-wing socialist idea to pass out free money to people. So I part ways with the president on giving people free money. We should help those who are unemployed by extending unemployment, but we shouldn't add to unemployment. There are things we can do. Look, in 2008, President Obama extended unemployment. They didn't juice it up by giving people more money not to work than they work. So we've done a lot of terrible ideas that are much worse than what we criticized President Obama. President Obama is now a conservative when it comes to stimulus because his unemployment didn't juice it up. He just extended it. We didn't give cash payments back then, but the cash payments is a ridiculous, terrible, foolish, no good idea because you're just printing out money to give to people. Why not do it all the time? Give people 1,000, 10,000, why not 1 million? It's a terrible idea, and it's going to ruin the value of our currency ultimately.
It's a scary world where former President Obama is a fiscal conservative. Senator Rand Paul, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Senator.
So let's take a look at this Festivus report. It's a 139-page report that you can find on Senator Rand Paul's website. I will provide you with a link to this report in the description section below. This is not a joke. This is a report released by a senator of the United States. You'll see page 1 that says Festivus Report. Hopefully, this puts you in a very festive mood. On page 2, you'll see a comment from Senator Paul that says, I got a lot of problems with federal spending and now you're going to hear about it. And so on page 3, you will see the list of spending grievances from Senator Rand Paul. And he said the Platinum Pig Awards, yes, the Platinum Pig Awards for wasteful spending for healthcare, foreign aid, environment, energy, science, military, and miscellaneous. Whew. And so then you'll see the next page where, you know, he goes into a lot more detail. There's some visuals and there's some graphics there. And then on the following page, you'll see that the senator provides us some specifics about the waste of 2020. Apparently in healthcare, we've spent money on individuals being studied if they ate ground up bugs. I'm sure that's extremely important. Ask why stress makes hair turn gray. Tries to get Eastern Mediterranean youth to stop smoking hookah. This is money that the United States government has spent. And this is the money that the United States government is spending. So you'll see all these list of items in healthcare. Let's jump to foreign aid. Spend billions in Afghanistan for counter narcotic efforts. And so again, this is money that the United States is spending. And this is part of the Festivus report that has been released by Senator Rand Paul. You'll see on your screen all the issues with foreign aid spending as far as Senator Rand Paul is concerned. Let's move to environment, energy, and science. And again, you'll see apparently we are studying walking lizards on a treadmill. Now, see, that's new information to me. I would want to know how lizards walk on a treadmill. That is extremely important for my personal knowledge, because if a lizard can walk on a treadmill, I'm pretty sure I can walk on a treadmill more effectively. Now, I don't know how I'll tie the two together, but I will find a way, I promise, because after all, this is taxpayer-funded money that has been spent on walking lizards on a treadmill. So, yes, sometimes I feel like we are living in the middle of a satire, but this report is something that I feel every single taxpayer should read. We're wasting money as far as the military is concerned as well. Lost drones over Afghanistan, spent millions on Starbase, which is a DoD project. Lost equipment designated for Syrians who are fighting ISIS. And by the way, stuff like this, a lot of the lost equipment ends up in pawn shops, ends up being resold, ends up funding what are probably not good activities. It probably ends up funding activities that are designed to damage our country. So this gives you a sense of the waste. So a lot of taxpayer money wasted, a significant amount of taxpayer money wasted. And that number that you see on your screen is well over $54 billion. I'm going to go back to page 2 of this Festivus report. Hopefully, again, like I said, it puts you in a festive spirit. And this is what the senator writes, okay? For example, perhaps somebody can explain to me why the Kennedy Center needed $25 million for salaries, or why Congress reimbursed some agencies for money that they had spent in late 2019 and early 2020 before COVID hit, or just maybe cutting agencies blank checks is why the debt skyrocketed from $23 trillion to more than $27 trillion. Spending was about 50% higher than last year, and payments of interest on the public debt remained high at approximately $387 billion. And you'll see this part of the report that says, so what does $54 billion, actually it's $54.75 billion mean to you? If the waste I found is $54 billion and the average taxpayer pays about $10,000, then Uncle Sam wasted the taxes of almost 5.5 million of our fellow Americans. Now, let me be clear. $54 billion, okay, is definitely a lot of waste. Now, a billion has 9 zeros. A trillion has 12 zeros. Now, the GDP of the United States of America in the year 2018 was right over $20 trillion. Now, the GDP is essentially a measure of how many transactions we do as a country and the size of those transactions. If more people buy more stuff, the GDP increases. If more people buy more expensive stuff, the GDP increases. That's just a simple way of looking at it. It's the amount of money we spend on goods and services because we love spending money. We are an economy that just spends and spends and spends. Now, let me ask you a question. So, if $1 trillion has 12 zeros and $1 billion has 9 zeros, right? So, hopefully you now understand that it takes $1,000 billion, okay, to get to $1 trillion. So again, $1 billion has 9 zeros. $1,000 billion, which is 12 zeros, 1 and 12 zeros, that equates to $1 trillion. Now, the GDP, the annual GDP of the country is $20 trillion. Now, in the year 2020, the annual revenue of the United States government through taxes, by the way, the majority of the income that the United States government gets is through the income from middle income taxpayers, from the taxes that you, my viewers and subscribers, pay. So a majority of the revenue of the United States government comes from taxes of middle income America. I have done another video talking about how the US government gets money and spends money. I think that every single US taxpayer should watch that video. We'll provide you with a link to that video on the top right hand side corner of this video that you're watching now. So now think about this. If the GDP of the United States let's just say the average is $21 trillion because the GDP goes up every year, and the United States government took basically the revenue of the United States government was 16% of that GDP. So let's just keep things simple and round things off. The revenue of the United States government in a normal year is $3 trillion. Again, that's 3 followed by 12 zeros. Okay, 3 followed by 12 zeros. Now let's do a little exercise here. So I'll show you this number on your screen, $3 trillion. That's 3 followed by 12 zeros. Let's just take away 9 zeros. Okay, and then that gives you the $3,000 number. So on your screen, let's just say the income of the United States government is $3,000 because we took away 9 zeros. Now let's show you the wasteful spending, which is $54 billion. Okay, let's take the $54 billion, and now on your screen you'll see 54 followed by 9 zeros, which is $54 billion. Now let's do the exact same thing with this number. Let's take away 9 zeros. So now you have $54. Now I have a question for you. If you make $3,000 and you waste $54, is that a bad thing? Well, wasting any money is a bad thing, but look at the big picture here. If you made $3,000 a month and you wasted $54 on stuff you didn't need, on really ridiculous stuff, would you consider yourself financially irresponsible? Or would you say that in the grand scheme of things, you know what, $54 relative to $3,000 is no big deal? Well, think about it. $54 billion, yes, that sounds like a lot of money, but relative to the amount of money the US government makes, which is $3 trillion on a $20 trillion GDP economy, is this wastage? You be the judge. I hope you learned something new. On your screen now you'll see, let's say, an income of $3,000 and wastage of $54. And if I add 9 zeros, you get an income of $3 trillion. That's 3 followed by 12 zeros. And you get wastage, according to Sen Rand Paul, which, by the way, is pretty good work, the wastage of $54 billion. But I'll let you decide if in the grand scheme of things, this is worth fighting over. This is worth being very divisive. This is worth vetoing a bill that could help the most vulnerable amongst us. You decide. Interest rates are very low right now, and it is indeed cheap to borrow money. But yes, look, wasting money is always a bad thing, and we shouldn't be wasting any money. But if you had $3,000 and you wasted 54, would you consider yourself irresponsible? Would you release a Festivus report as an attempt to essentially, validate your position, or would you say, it's okay, it's kind of under control? I'll let you be the judge. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Also, you'll find a link to the video with Sen Rand Paul and this Festivus report in the description section below. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. I appreciate you being a viewer. I appreciate you being a subscriber. If you don't know anything about me, please check out my video. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. And if you want to get on our SMS alerts list, just get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000. That's 70000. You'll get added to SMS alerts list moving forward. Now, keep in mind that when you get on our SMS alerts list, you'll get important news, you'll get breaking news, and you'll get announcements about any future training programs on investment and how to grow your money. You'll get information about those types of training programs if you're interested. You can opt out of the SMS alerts at any point in time that you want. Now, if you want, you can also get added to our email list. Simply go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts, and then you'll get added to our email list going forward. You can opt out of the SMSs or the emails at any point in time. Now, the Ignition Time channel is about the country, it's about the economy, and it's about your money. Our goal is to help you overcome the cycle of poverty. Here's the cycle of poverty on your screen. This is the thing that holds most of us back. Because once you're in a cycle of poverty, it's very hard to break out of that. It's very hard to get to the next level financially. I will help you get to the next level financially because I have lived through the cycle of poverty and now I live the American dream. I want to teach you how to live the American dream. Now, keep in mind that YouTube does not always send out notifications on time. So all I ask you to do is simply bookmark youtube.com/ignition time. That's youtube.com/ignition time. So go ahead and bookmark our channel. This way you can visit the home page of our channel and check out our videos at any point in time that you want. So make sure you do that. Follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time. So follow us on Instagram and then you'll get exclusive news as an Instagram follower. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is also ignition_time. That's ignition_time. So make sure you follow us on Twitter for real-time alerts and breaking news on Twitter. Also, please comment below. One of the things I'm personally extremely proud of is our community. Our community is intelligent, it's growing, it's bipartisan, it's respectful. So comment below, engage in a healthy debate with our fellow Americans. I want you to know that for me personally, it's not about the red or the blue, it's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat, I'm not Republican, I am American. We are all Americans first. So we need to unite, we need to be able to heal as a country, and we need to be able to move forward. That is what the Ignition Time channel is all about. Please share this video with 2 friends or family members, just 2 friends or family members. That would mean a lot to me. And finally, if you learned something new from this video, please click the like button, please subscribe, please enable notifications, gently ignite that subscribe button because the name of our channel is Ignition Time. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.